Thank you, Senator Strobel and committee members for hearing SB 705. This should be a common sense bill that an individual no longer owns or possesses a vehicle. They should generally not be held liable for the vehicle or the actions of the new owner of the vehicle. This bill clarifies an ambiguity in statute, and in a nutshell states that the liability is shifted with the movement of the title to the vehicle's lawful new owner. This is the second time this bill has been introduced. Last session, Senator Capping and I introduced this bill after a situation in our district where an individual sold their vehicle, but the buyer failed to transfer the title. The buyer proceeded to accumulate numbers of parking tickets. City police tracked down the previous owner of the vehicle and threatened to suspend their registration and their driver's license until they paid the parking tickets. Heard in late 2019, it appears this bill was to pass only because of the time constraints and more pressing statewide issues and the outbreak of COVID. Placing liability at the rightful owner of the vehicle will protect our state's vehicle sellers from unjust civil and criminal liberties. It is important to note that liability exemptions do not apply if death or injury is caused by the seller's willful or wanton actions or omissions. Immunity also does not apply to motor vehicles or wholesale dealers. So this is some common sense, nonpartisan, consumer-focused bill that should help keep the sellers of a vehicle from being held liable for something that they did not do. I want to thank Senator Felskowski for jumping in here with me.
Well, thank you very much for hearing this bill. When Senator Capping and Representative Duchow asked me to take this over this session, I thought this was absolutely ridiculous. Why would we need something like this? I mean, when you sell a vehicle, you've sold that vehicle, you signed the title, obviously you are no longer responsible for that. But then having talked to different parties and even talking to the Insurance Alliance, I've found that's not true. There have been loopholes in state law where people who have sold a vehicle and no longer owned it have been held accountable for the damages that the new owner has done. So when I heard that, I thought, you know, no common sense there, but if we need to straighten this out in the statutes and make it official, that was something that we needed to do. Because when I sign that title over to somebody, I'm assuming that I'm signing over the liability that goes with that. And I think we'd all be very shocked if we found out that we hadn't done that. If somebody, you know, was in an accident at fault or something, and I hate to say this, but, you know, sometimes deep pockets are where people go instead of where the actual liability lays. So this clears that up, and you know now that if you sell that vehicle, you receive payment compensation for it, you sign that title over, you're also signing over the liability to the new owner also.
Great. Well, thank you for your testimony. I'm glad you brought forth this bill. I think it's a great bill. I've heard those horror stories too, and it's just common sense. So thanks. Questions from the committee? Senator Bradley.
Just a comment. This is
I know.
Mary, I feel like we go through this every so often. I turn to you and I go, how is this possible? And this is another one of those that, thank you for bringing the bill forward. Yeah.
Any other questions from the committee? Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Senator Strobel.